Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 334.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two
crazy ketos. Good to see everybody this morning.
Episode 334. We have been doing this for 6 years without missing a Monday. I'm pretty excited about that.
That is what you need to have eyes on. I think that a lot of times we have eyes on where we are failing or where we are not doing as well as we would like.
It's the only thing that we are consistent with.
That's not true. We're consistently married.
With the channel.
We're consistently posting things daily. So I guess, but I think we are naturally hard on ourselves. And I think if we're hard on ourselves, I bet you're hard on yourself too. So notice the thing today that you've been consistently doing and celebrate it.
We also just passed our YouTube anniversary. July 31st.
Wow.
2018 is when we launched Two Crazy Ketos.
Thank you to everybody who has been here. We've got some OGs. We've got some people who have been here from the inception of Two Crazy Ketos, and we're thankful for you. And we're thankful for you if you're just finding us today. Do us a favor. If you have not already done so, would you please take a minute to subscribe to our channel? Because we do have a lot of people who watch but don't subscribe.
We have a lot of people that watch and don't subscribe. And in order to grow the channel, we need you to subscribe, comment, share.
Yes.
Because the less subscribers that we are adding on, the less engagement, the less YouTube promotes us.
Yeah.
And that means the less people that we can reach, which means it's the less people we can help, which means the smaller the community is.
So do us a favor today.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And even if it's been a couple of years ago, find a video today that we've had past or present, recently or far away, and share it somewhere. Share it with somebody. Send it to somebody. Post it in a group that is comfortable sharing videos, obviously. Because we do want to reach more people, but we need your help to do that.
Yeah. So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, welcome. This is Keto Beyond the Couch. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, live as much as possible. And during Keto Beyond the Couch, we like to celebrate our subscribers. We like to go back and look through our social media, like our Mighty Networks group, which is completely free, members.twocrazyketos.com, and answer questions, celebrate wins, those kind of things. And so the way we like to do this is we're going to go through everything we have pre-prepared. We don't pay too much attention to the chat until the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. So if you have a question, hold off till then, or use the super chat function, which we really do appreciate when you use that super chat function. It does help benefit the channel, but more importantly, it's going to highlight our screen and let us know that you have a question so that we don't miss it and we can answer it right then and there. Now, I do want to say, today's stream is sponsored by Keto Brick.
Keto Brick.
So if you don't know what Keto Brick is basically a meal bar. I mean, I don't like to call it a meal bar, but you can use it for a meal. We love to use it like when we go to theme parks and things like that, because theme park food is expensive. A lot of times it's not even the greatest food anyway.
I'm throwing half of it out.
So we will carry a Keto Brick with us because a Keto Brick is a 1,000 calorie bar, which is like 80% fat. And they have all different flavors. We've been using Keto Brick since its inception.
Yes.
Back then, like Robert was only making like a few bricks a month, and you'd have to sit here and go refresh I guess I got to wait till next month. And they've really built the company up. And this week, they're celebrating their anniversary.
How nice.
And it's been cool to watch Robert and Crystal grow the company from doing things in their house to having a commercial kitchen that they were driving hours to go to, then basically living in a warehouse to now having their own building.
It's hard work.
It's amazing to watch this company grow. And so to celebrate their anniversary, they are having their annual brick by brick sale. Now, we actually put out a little thing yesterday and I messed up on it, because this year's sale is the best sale they've ever done. It is also the only sale that they will do. There is no Black Friday sale, no nothing. They do their brick by brick sale. That is it. They only do it for this 1 week of the year. And so when you go use our link down below and you use the code brick by brick, you will get 15%. I said in the video yesterday, 10%, but it
That's
is
even better.
15% off your order, and that stacks on top of the bulk discount. So if you buy like 24 bricks, you get a big discount. I don't remember exactly what it is, but then you can get another 15% off on top of that. In addition, they ran out of room on the wall of the building that they built, so they've got a shipping container that they painted black, and then your name will go on the shipping container as somebody who supports Keto Brick. And if you spend $250 or more, you get a brick by brick t-shirt. The only way to get it is by ordering during this week.
Now, some people had reached out to me and said, like, hey, their favorite flavor is not currently in stock. And my advice is reach out to them. Talk to them on Instagram, message them on Instagram, send them an email, let them know what your favorite flavors are and what you intend to buy. Because if it's like, I'd like one, all right, I'm not cooking an entire batch for like one. But if you're like, hey, I am looking for this, and you know, some people have special needs that, you know, there's only certain flavors that they can enjoy, let them know. And maybe even if they don't have it ready right this second, they can earmark you for a future batch.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with them other than we're friends with Robert and Crystal. We are affiliates for them. But also remember, it is a small company, just a few employees. They're not outsourcing, like, you know, the manufacturer. They're not using a co-packer. They're doing it all in-house.
Just them.
So they have to make runs of a flavor and then make runs of another flavor. So yeah, I would definitely reach out to them. But here's the QR code for it. There is a link down below. We really appreciate Keto Brick for supporting Two Crazy Ketos. And we appreciate you guys for supporting the sponsors who support us. Let's get right into today's show. We're going to start off with, again, I have to just remind you because there's only a few days left, the 2KK back-to-back cruises, December 4th through the 8th or the 8th through the 13th. You can go on the first one, the second one, or both. Now, here's the thing. The December 8th through the 13th, we have to give back any unsold cabins on August 10th.
It's here.
August 10th.
Yes.
So at the end of this
Sunday.
week, I have to give back any unsold cabins. Now, that doesn't mean if you don't sign up before August 10th, you can't go on the second cruise. It just means you're not going to get the rate that we're paying.
I don't want to pay more
money. We got a lower rate.
Right.
Also, we got the rate that we got allows you to have, it's a refundable deposit. After the 10th, it's whatever the current rate is, and the deposit is non-refundable.
Right.
So it just said if you're interested in going, we only have like 3, maybe 4 ocean view balconies left.
Yeah.
We do have some interiors, but as far as ocean view balcony, we only have 3 or 4 left. And there's only like 2 or 3 cabins where I can keep you, if you want to do both cruises, where I can put you in the same cabin for both cruises because the cruise is filling up quickly. Now, the first cruise, the 4-night cruise, that one we have until September. It's kind of weird the way it works out. And also that one, you may know, is scheduled for Labadee. I'm going to tell you, most likely we're not going to Labadee. They're going to end up changing it. They just canceled everything through November for Labadee. But don't worry, they're going to put us somewhere else. And it doesn't matter because it's all about community anyway. It doesn't matter where we're going.
I honestly do not care where we're going or what they're serving in main dining nightly. I will make all of that work. I just want to get to the visiting. We had such a beautiful time at the Champions for Health Summit in Orlando.
Yep.
We understand it's the last year.
It's the last year.
Right?
No more metabolic health, or not meta. No more
Keto Orlando
Summit, which is also called Champions for Health.
And it's sad. So we're losing opportunities for community. It is a lot to put any kind of gathering on. So like, don't miss out. Don't miss out on opportunities for community when they're there.
Yeah.
Right.
People ask us, why don't you guys have a conference? Because Erica lost like $10,000.
It's a lot. So we're praying.
So that's why we do the community cruises. Because for us, it's about community.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on is community. And with the community cruise, we don't have to lay out any money. And we look for the cheapest possible option. We are still looking for next year. It's going to be the end of September, beginning of October. I'm really going back and forth between 2 ships. I wanted to go on Harmony of the Seas. But The problem is that Harmony of the Seas is more money than Adventure of the Seas. We can do one of the two ships. They're both larger ships. Harmony's just slightly larger. We've been on Adventure of the Seas with the low-carb cruise. It is a great ship, but the price difference is significant, especially for people who want to go in an interior. Put it this way, Harmony of the Seas, the interior cabins are the same exact price as the ocean view balconies.
I'm very much looking forward. I mean, I'm looking forward to this year's trip. I'm looking forward to next year's trip because, this year is your birthday cruise. Next
year we'll be celebrating Rachel's 50th birthday.
50 years old.
50th birthday. So you're definitely going to want to go on next year's when we celebrate Rachel's 50th birthday.
The Golden Cruise. Yeah, it's the Golden Cruise. I just want to say thank you so much for Barbara and Evelyn who were saying such nice things about my hair today. I did post a thing this morning talking about how I'm more than 17,000 days successfully not looking like Meg Ryan.
I think you look better than
I appreciate that, but thank you so much for your kind words. Sometimes we do set up I want to look like my favorite influencer. I want to look like my favorite celebrity. And we sort of put, their poster on the wall and we say this is what I want to look like in my health journey.
Yep.
But you know what? You're setting yourself up for failure in that because we're never going to be somebody else. And instead of being sad about that, let's embrace that. There is only one you. I think that's so precious.
Yeah.
Right? That's a precious thing.
Let's jump into this post from Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Said, exercise to be fit, not skinny.
Yes.
Eat to nourish your body and always ignore the haters, the doubters, the unhealthy examples that were once feeding you. You are worth more than you realize. And it's kind of funny that I put up this after you literally, and you don't have any knowledge of what I put in here.
And you had no idea what I was posting
and
this
I
morning.
chose this last night, and here you are talking about you've lived your life trying to look like Meg Ryan.
Yeah. I always wanted to have her hair was so cute in all of the 80s and 90s films. And I'm like, okay, one day, a new movie would come out and I'd be like, this is the year. Right. But it was I'm trying to be somebody else. And it's that's never going to work. And why would it? Honestly, when you're, I would find myself, and maybe I'm not the only one out there, that would be praying for results like somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, please answer my prayer to look like this person or to be like this person. And you would, you'd want certain aspects of the highlight reel.
Yes.
Right? The things that you would see in a magazine or the things that they would share on social media. And it would be God would be so mean to answer that prayer.
Yes.
Right? Because I have unique talents. I have unique abilities, and there's beauty there's wildflowers in my life that never grow in anybody else's yard. Right.
Yeah.
So you need to embrace that. And if you are holding on to that thought, there's somebody that you hold up as an ideal, do yourself a favor and change that photo to a photo of you.
Yeah.
You are exactly who you're supposed to be.
Donna said your hair color is meaning so many different shades all at once now.
And
it is natural. It's funny.
So
her
weird.
Entire life she was coloring her hair and this is natural.
And this is me.
I saw Annie said the dates for next year. We're still working it because I'm trying to decide on the ship. And we are looking for the lowest possible cost. For me,
cheaper chicken.
If it was up to me, I'd book us on Legend of the Seas, which is the next ship coming out. It launches next year in September, but that would rule out a lot of people. And for us, it's all about community and having as many people that can afford to go as possible. When you look at something like the different events, Hack Your Health or different things, when it's $300 just to get in and you still have to buy all of your food and everything else. And when,
room for the night.
We can do, $300 to $600, per person, $1,000 per person, but it includes all of your food and entertainment and community and longer time. So we want to keep it as cheap as possible. So I'm going to put a post up in the cruise group. We'll also be doing a live stream probably later on in the cruise group, answering questions for people who are going on the cruise who have questions about things. We'll talk about some stuff a little bit later on, though. Next one's from Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
You can't control how other people see you, and you don't have to.
Oof.
Their opinions can only hurt you if you stress about them. So let them think whatever they want and focus on doing what's right for you.
Hallelujah. Yes, we have got to come to that conclusion. And do not let somebody saying something stop you from what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So if somebody challenges you, you are brave enough to post a picture, and then somebody says, I can't eat that, or I don't eat that, or I wouldn't eat that. More for you. I don't like that. Or somebody says, when you share an exercise routine that you're doing, and somebody says, I can't do that. Like,
Right.
I don't know why people do that. I don't know why people need for you to know that they're not doing the same thing as you. And it kind of like, because you can't always embrace the tone, that sometimes comes off as like you are incorrect in the way you're doing this.
Right. And we're guilty of this.
Yeah, don't change because they're saying
I was talking to Dr. Nelson over the weekend, and he was asking if we still don't use the scale. And I'm like, no, not really. I think we've been on the scale like 4 times over the last year. First of all, it's been packed. So that really helps.
That's a blessing.
But he asked me what happened. Like, what made us get to the conclusion of the scale? And I'm like, because the scale is just a number. And especially for women, it can change multiple times throughout a day. But we got to this point where we cared what other people thought. I mean, and I do care what other people thought, but that the caring what other people thought led to stress, which led to weight gain. And as somebody who is on social media talking about the ketogenic lifestyle, and you would get messages from people like, you look fat. Like, why would you talk about this?
Why would I hire this person as a coach? It
puts you into these bad tendencies. And that's why I say that scale never told me something good. If the scale was up, it called me a failure.
Right.
If the scale was down, it said that I can maybe get away with something a little bit extra, like eat an extra dessert, eat a little bit more of something. So it never told me something good. Now, not everybody has this relationship, but when you get to the point with, oh my gosh, I'm up 4 pounds, and now I'm not going to eat again until that scale says that number again, it's time to throw out the scale.
We talk about how like you have to change things up because your body likes change, but you need to change things up because like your reward system requires change. So when we started out and I'm over 300 pounds, of course, every single time you step on the scale is kind of a victory because at least you're maintaining or you've got numbers to put up.
Right.
But like as you continue in your journey, if you stay consistent, at some point, you will either be the same and then be in that like 5-10 pound where you're like up and down. And now you're never going to have that same ability of celebration that daily. There may be a chance I step on the scale and since the last time I've lost 20 pounds. Right. That's something that you would put up when we were getting started. Right. And so you can't like anchor your hope like that. You've got to pivot it. So for me, I had to put the scale away because I was never going to have that experience. And it's funny because what is celebrated in the analytics is even challenging. So as like somebody with a channel, people like to see drastic change.
Right.
And I was putting that pressure on me. So the only way we were going to be able to catch people who love drastic change is to gain a crap ton of weight and then do something and lose a crap ton of weight. Like I am going to have to be satisfied where we're at because you're just going to see me being the same.
Right.
And if people are not titillated by that, I have to let that go.
And one of the reasons we don't grow is because we refuse to do like
drastic things
constantly.
Yeah.
And every week we're going to do something different and coming up with clickbait stuff
Sure.
and all that. We're just going to talk about keto, how to keep it sustainable, full day eating vlogs, things
Same
like
us.
that. Next one we have is from Matt.
Matt.
Some of you know and some of you don't that I work for a certain mouse. During my time there, I worked at the Galactic Star Cruiser Resort. Our motto for the resort was "Together as One." That is a motto that has stuck with me since then. This motto makes me think of this community. We live this life together as one. We are all separate and different, but we are all one big family. We live the keto and military. We love. I'm assuming we love the keto and military communities, but we are only one. We are one family. Today, focus on being in this community and how we are living together as one.
That is so beautiful, Matt. And it's also challenging because I think of that as far as what is my responsibility in the community. If we're together as one, that sounds like we need to work together to build it. I cannot be a spectator and you cannot be a spectator if we are going to be a community, because together does not imply that it is on the shoulders of a single person. Right? So if you feel like that too, like this community is very important to you, I'm going to challenge you. Share, post, answer questions. Like in our Mighty Networks group, there's so many groups available. Share, be active in that group and take some of the responsibility that this community is ours, but that also means it's yours.
Yeah. Next one is from Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
Who all watches the 2KK videos as well as other carnivore influencers? My spouse tells me I'm obsessive because I watch these videos. I say they entertain and educate me, so I don't want to stop.
Sure.
At what point does it become unhealthy? This is gonna sound kind of bad.
Okay.
It can become unhealthy.
Well, sure it can.
Okay. It doesn't mean stop watching us.
Well,
Please don't stop watching.
If you're neglecting your duties.
Well, here's where it could become unhealthy. Okay, and I'm not even talking about neglecting your children or your duties or your job or any of that kind of stuff. Don't be a corporate time-stealing weasel and watch our videos in the middle of your job. Go watch them later. But where it could become unhealthy is when you become obsessive of what's new. What's new?
Oh,
what's new? What's new? Oh, you know, Joe and Rachel said do this, and this person said do this, and this person, so I'm going to try them all.
I'm going to do everything today.
Okay. The most important thing is to be consistent. So where it could become unhealthy is where you're always looking to jump on the bandwagon of the something new instead of being consistent with what you're currently doing. If you are currently eating a protocol that you have just started, whether it be keto or carnivore, or I'm going to do beef, butter, bacon, and egg, or I'm going to add in some exercise, whatever change you've made, you should not neglect that change or try something new for a minimum of 30 to 60 days.
I agree. That is where it can be dangerous.
If you like, I'm going to do beef, butter, bacon, and egg, and after 1 week I didn't see results, quit, then that's the problem. That's where it could become unhealthy because you're always looking for something new.
And if that is something that you have a trouble with, I'm going to say use the Mighty Networks to put up what you're doing consistently. That is the answer back. Like even in the midst of somebody being like, hey, we're doing nothing but sardines this week. Okay, well, I'm not doing that, but I am doing this. So you can feel a camaraderie that you are pursuing something. You are in the midst of a challenge. You don't need to take on another challenge. You need to be consistent in your current challenge, and you can share what's going on in your challenge. And that can kind of like help you not need to, jump ship and do something new.
Can we give a shout out to Chris Bear for always putting the links
Thank you, Chris Bear. What a blessing.
Next one is from Ashley.
Hey, Ashley.
When you do OMAD, or you are still striving for a certain amount of are you still striving for a certain amount of protein, or just eating until you're comfortably full? Also, do you plan your OMAD, or do you just do it naturally? Okay.
Great questions.
Great questions. I have very strong opinions of this.
Okay.
If you are going to do OMAD, it should be something that comes naturally. In other words, I'm not that hungry today. I'm just eating the one meal.
Yeah.
I do not think that you should be, anybody should be, but especially women, long-term OMAD. It is not healthy for you for this particular reason. It says where you're saying you're striving for a certain amount of protein, or do you eat for comfortably full? You need to eat your protein. That was a theme that was talked a lot about over the weekend as well. Protein, 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 protein. You need your protein. Nobody out here, nobody in this group should be eating less than 100 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
Okay. So protein is super important. It is a building block. People ask, like, what's wrong with the vegan diet? One of the problems with the vegan diet is protein, because there are certain proteins, there are certain amino acids you cannot get without having meat.
Mm-hmm.
You need those amino acids. Also, plant protein isn't as good as meat protein because it's not as bioavailable. So you need to eat a lot more. You need your protein. You need at least 100 grams of protein a day. That should be your minimum. I'd say bare minimum is 80, but maybe only once in a while. You want to strive for at least 100 grams, if not more, of protein. The problem with OMAD is it's very difficult to get that in a sitting.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get all of the nutrients and all of the fuel that you need in a sitting. If you go by the fact that nobody should be eating less than 1,600 to 2,000 calories, that's a lot to get in a sitting of good, healthy meat food.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to get 1,000, 1,500 calories in, something like, I don't know, Oreo cookies.
Sure.
Or even those things over there from the Keto Brick, right? That's easy.
Yeah.
But there's no nutrition in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that easy to sit down and eat 1,500 calories of beef in a sitting.
Yeah. It is very challenging. I also want to just put out there, I was talking to somebody even about alternate day fasting this past weekend, and they had shared with me some of the problems that creep into an OMAD attitude and an alternate day fasting attitude is the thought that because I'm restricting on some level, I tend to incorporate some things I know to be wrong because I feel like I'm eating less. So, like, for instance, I was talking to somebody and they were saying, like, the problem that they were having with alternate day fasting is, I'm only eating every other day. And because of that, I'd be like, well, sometimes I'm going to have Wonder Bread. Sometimes I'm going to have toast in there because I'm only ever eating every other day. And I'm restricting my calories by putting them across, 2 days. The other thing was with the OMAD was saying that they were letting in some extra things that they knew to be wrong. They were not confused. This is not, pushing nutrition. This is not of great nutritional value. But if I only eat once a day, I'm so pitiful that I deserve to have some undermining ingredients because I only get to eat once a day. I would rather you stop that mentality and eat what you know is right.
Yeah. And again, if you are going to do OMAD, I'm going to go almost opposite. I mean, what Rachel's talking about is right. And add on to that, if you are going to OMAD, your OMAD should only be meat. Maybe a few vegetables, but there should be 0 desserts in an OMAD. Because again, it's all, you've got to nutrient pack that meal. But OMAD just is not good long-term, especially for women because of, hormonal issues with women. And there's more and more studies that have come out that, OMAD's just not great long-term. Maybe once in a while, hey, I'm just not hungry today.
Right.
But you've got to make sure you're getting your nutrition in. And it's the other thing that even as more and more stuff coming out that long-term carnivore is not right. Like long-term, and I'm not talking about your diet should be mostly meat, but long-term,
exclusively,
never touching anything else can present some issues. And there is some more and more studies coming out like that, especially when it comes to insulin and insulin resistance and things like that. And I will stand by, there has never, ever, 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 ever been a human civilization that is 100% carnivore.
Joe,
ever.
Why are we always the bearer of bad news? It is very inconvenient for us always to have to be talking about the things that people don't like.
Right. Next one's from Mary.
Hi, Mary.
I needed this thought today. I read it in a car, and just as I was about to go into a store, I was already making excuses to myself about why I was going to get chocolate. I got through the grocery store without buying any Quest cups or lilies for the first time in a while.
That is wonderful. That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations on that. That is victory. Like, if you can avoid entire sections of the grocery store now that before you felt like you had to go down those aisles, like whether you had the willpower to not pick up something or not, that's such an amazing victory.
Yeah. I just saw from Nicole, I threw my scale away too. I'm 25 pounds away from my goal, down 35, and it was making me crazy installed. Like you said, it never told me anything good. Going by my jean size.
And now. you can know that you are having results when the pants zip.
Right.
I am not confused. When like we have situations where my pants don't zip or the shirt doesn't go over and fit the same way, I know that I'm in the weeds somewhere.
Well, okay, so I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Uh-oh.
We've gotten on the scale a couple of times over the last few years. Recently,
Because we're testing a product.
Well, recently, I guess about a month ago, it got unpacked.
Yeah.
And we're like, I wonder.
Yeah.
And you got on it, and you're like,
Because
dang, I'm not the weight that I'm not at my lowest weight.
Right.
And it has really bummed you out, and we put it away.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're always saying, like, I feel like I'm fat, I feel like I'm fat, I feel like I'm fat. And I'm always like, I think you're thinner now. I don't care what the number says. I think you're thinner now than you used to be.
I put on like 10 pounds of muscle.
So regardless of what the number is.
Yeah.
So this weekend we went to Universal Studios because we got an opportunity to see our grandbaby. And I'm sorry for those of you who were at the summit on Saturday and we left early. But when you have the opportunity to go see your almost 3-year-old grandbaby, I'm taking it. So in Universal Studios for annual pass holders, they have a store, but it's only for annual pass holders, of discounted merchandise. And it's drastically, like 70 to 90% off. Like Rachel got a bathing suit that was $140 for $15.
I could not believe it. It was amazing.
And so she was buying a bunch of like Jurassic Park t-shirts and tank tops and things like that. And one of them was an extra small. And she's like, I don't know if this is going to fit. And I'm like, I think you should be buying extra small in all of them. And she's like, they're not going to fit. I'm too fat. She brought it home and it's baggy on her.
But you don't see yourself, like Serena
That's
is saying, fat is not a feeling, but that's what
you don't see it.
I don't,
But once, that's why we're going back to the jean thing. Once you put on clothes, that's why clothes
then you're like, oh, it tells
is
you a better story.
Measurement than the scale.
Yes, it is.
Because if you went by the number on the scale,
you'd be like, I'm not going to fit.
You wouldn't even, you'd pick up a medium.
Sure.
If you went by the number on the scale.
Yeah.
But when you put on the clothes and every one of the smalls and even that extra small tank top was baggy, that tells you a different story than the number on the scale.
Yeah.
And that's why clothes are a much better way to measure your success.
Y'all knowing me, you know that like, so we were, and we're going to be sharing about this product soon, but like there was a product that came out and I had to dig the scale out in order to see what was going on. Right. And y'all know that like, that is my commitment to this community because I do not want to interact with the scale at all. But I knew like in order for me to give a true answer to what am I seeing, I had to.
Right.
I had to do it.
Next one's from Amy.
Hey, Amy.
So for weight loss.
Yes.
And this is kind of today's topic. Why is butter a better choice for fat than heavy cream? Mm-hmm. I have heard Dr. Barry and Maria Emmerich say to avoid dairy because it causes weight gain. I just don't understand how too much heavy cream can cause weight gain, whereas butter does not. Okay. For several reasons. Okay. And it's not that it's going to cause weight gain, but heavy cream, and honestly, so can butter, can cause weight gain. With heavy cream specifically, it can cause inflammation for a lot of people. A lot of people get bloating from heavy cream.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
I know I can. I get a really bad phlegmy cough. You can like time my cough.
Yes.
So if you were around me between about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning and about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I will get a very phlegmy cough.
He's not a smoker.
If I ate a bunch of cheese or a bunch of dairy the day before.
It is the tell.
And like, it's just like, you can literally set your watch by my phlegmy cough. Okay?
Sexy.
So the real problem with heavy cream is two things. Number one, all heavy whipping cream has carbs.
Right.
All heavy cream has carbs. It's 0.413 grams per tablespoon. Okay, so with that being said, you look at the label, it says 0. Some people think it's 0, but it's a rounding thing. So if you look at the equivalent, if you had 400 calories of butter, there's no carbs. I mean, there is.
It's residual.
There is a residual carb in there,
Right.
but it's like, it's still, Chris Bear just left, but he could tell you the exact number. It's still like less than 0.11.
It's
okay?
a question of how many angels can dance on the head of a pin.
400 calories of heavy whipping cream has just under 4 carbs. Okay, so that's one. The real thing is this, is that heavy cream is only 30 to 36% fat.
Right.
Butter is roughly 82 to 88% fat. So there's a lot more fat in butter. So what is the rest in heavy whipping cream? It's whey and casein protein, which is insulinogenic, which means it can cause insulin reactions. Even though you generally will not see a glucose spike, you will have an insulin reaction to heavy cream, whereas you really will not have an insulin reaction or much of one at all to butter.
Right.
So that's real. And also, it's much easier to overdo heavy cream, especially if you're like heavy cream in coffee. If you drink heavy cream, if you drink coffee and you drink coffee 3-4 times a day or an hour, and you're putting in a splash of heavy cream are you measuring it?
Right.
What is it at the end of the day? If you are measuring it and you're tracking it, when you put it into a tracking thing, are you putting, I had a coffee with 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream? Or at the end of the day, are you going, I had 9 coffees with 9 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and I had 9 because here, and that matters. Right. Because if you go into a tracking app and you put 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream, it's going to say 0 carbs.
Yeah.
But if you go into a tracking app at the end of the day and say, I had 9 total tablespoons of heavy whipping cream at the end of the day, it's going to come in at around 4 carbs.
Right.
And so there is, it's a hidden carb. But the big thing is, because heavy whipping cream is only 30 to 36% fat, and butter is 80 to 88% fat. Butter's got a few milk proteins in there, but it is mostly fat and water.
Yeah. Well, and like you said about it stimulating your insulin, remember that's a fat storing hormone.
Right.
You know, and if you are somebody who frequently takes your coffee with a splash of cream, how many interactions with your insulin, how many times are you spiking it daily?
I mean, our treat when we go out, like if we go to Disney World or if we're on the road, I'll go to Starbucks, because most Starbucks now have heavy. No, but specifically I'm talking about Starbucks.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying Starbucks is because Starbucks now offers heavy whipping cream. Joffrey's does not.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you need to get with the program.
So Starbucks, so when you go to order your Starbucks, I always order online because I don't want to wait. Okay, I'm impatient. So I order online and it gives you, I want heavy whipping cream. And then it asks you how much, but you can't tell it a tablespoon. It's like a quarter, a half, like, but what is that? And are they sitting there with the tablespoon? So my thing is now
busy morning.
I tell them I want it on the side because I'm going to go by color.
I was going to say, I think that's how most people measure.
But that could be a problem.
Because my coffee is best when it achieves the color that I want.
And as somebody who was a bartender in college, I'm very good at pouring and knowing ounce. Like I can, that was 1 ounce. I mean, that's something you learn as a bartender, how to pour and you count. And as you count, every count, a count of 4 would be 1 ounce. So I'm pretty good at that. So I would much rather just kind of like, that splash, that was 1 ounce.
I am not as good at that.
Most baristas don't do that.
No, well, they're busy. It's like the
morning. I'm not blaming them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, that's the problem with heavy whipping cream. Let's take a quick fade to black.
And we're back. Speaking of like...
Aaron said Joffrey's is so good.
It is. Speaking of things fitting, I mean, I am sorry, but this will continue to be happening, which is... mostly, I'm only wearing shorts, tank top, and bathing suit, regardless of what I look like in them, because it is so hot.
It was 110 yesterday.
Holy crap. So, like, I can't. I see all of these cute things, like outfit of the day, and I did post, like, what I wore to the Orlando Summit, because I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm wearing pants. Isn't this nice? I actually have a nice top on, or I'm wearing a dress, because it is just unbelievably hot. And you're just like, I can't. I cannot put on pants. I can't wear a big girl shirt right now.
Next one is from Elle.
Hey, Elle.
One thing that often helps me as a solo artist in this keto community is when my husband will say, hey, I was thinking, why don't you fix us both a piece of pie with some ice cream? Or let's have a plate of chips. I will reply, you can go and fix yourself some pie and ice cream. I think staying away from prepping those things for our family members keeps us from taking a first bite, which can lead to a binge. I cook keto meals for us and he is fine with that, but since he does eat snacks, he can fix those on his own. Have a Super Tuesday.
And that's fair.
I
agree. And I don't...
He's an adult.
Well, and here's the thing.
I don't want to be a marriage wrecker, but...
Well, but what I'm saying is, if you are used to preparing food for your spouse, right? Or you're preparing certain foods for kids that are of the age that they could get that thing in themselves at this point, right? Like 10, 12 years old, if you're still allowing certain things or they're still eating it, then if they can fix it for themselves, then they can go get it for themselves.
And if they can't, they shouldn't be eating it.
But I can see that if, you kind of fall into natural things as spouses. Like, we have our own, like, kind of jurisdictions. There's certain things that you do and I do. And I think that this can be an opportunity where we pivot and we find out new ways to be loving and romantic. Mm-hmm. I gotta, talking about throwing people under the bus, I gotta throw you under the bus, because I think that I really made your heart flutter recently. We were going someplace and I ran over to his side of, like, his door, and I opened the car door for him, and Joe made a noise that I have not heard in a while, which was like, oh, like it was a very high pitched, oh my gosh, because I surprised you.
Right.
So there's things that in the past I would have fixed you some chips or, put them on a plate for you and brought them to you, like years ago. But now we find new ways to still be romantic and show care, but it's different.
Right. Here's the thing is that if you're in a situation where you've got a loved one that you are living with and, they expect you. I mean, I've known people where, I think like chauvinistic men, they were like, my dinner better be on the table when I get home kind of thing.
Yikes.
I don't like that. But if you're in a situation where, okay, my husband, I have to do what my husband says
or wife
or whatever. And I would sweetly explain to them that, like, I have a problem with touching that food. And Maria Emmerich said this perfectly. If you go to a family event and you're a recovering alcoholic, people are very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Or a recovering drug addict. But what happens when you go to a family event and you don't eat sugar? Grandma goes, have a piece of my pie. They're very insensitive to that. If you are in a relationship and you were having an alcohol issue, would your spouse tell you to go make them a drink?
Right. But they're not seeing it.
But that's what I'm saying. Have a loving conversation with them, explaining
that this is not an elective issue.
That these foods to me are like an alcohol for an alcoholic.
Right.
And it really derails me if I have to prepare them. So I would greatly appreciate it. I'm fine to make our meals, but if you want one of these other things, I would really appreciate it if you could help me on my journey and make it yourself.
Yeah. And hey, not everybody's going to receive that well. There may be a fight that ensues, but at the end of the day, it is a fight worth having. You do have to pick your fights. I get it.
Now someone's going to say that we're breaking up marriage.
I know. I'm sorry about that. But if someone was like, no, you're doing it. I am just not doing that thing.
Right.
Like, at some point, if you were insisting that I continue touching something that is so triggering for me, I am just at some point just going to be like, no, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave me over this issue? And if you are, bye. Because if
you're more important than your spouse.
Well, and if you would leave me over something like that,
yeah.
then I'm just waiting for the next thing for you to leave me over.
So,
right? I'm not going to live on walking on eggshells.
The Bible says God, spouse, children. That's the order of importance. When it comes to your health, I'm going to tell you it's God, you, then your spouse. Because if your health is in poor condition,
you can't even
you're worthless.
Be present.
You're worthless to your spouse and your children.
Right.
So your health has to be the number one priority over your spouse.
Yeah.
It has to be.
And that's not a selfish thing.
Next
I see
one,
Cindy O is here. I just want to say thank you for sitting next to me at the Orlando Summit. Love you.
Next one is from Caprice.
Hey, Caprice.
I cooked a brisket in my crock pot on low overnight and it came out tough. Is this overcooked or undercooked? I didn't add water. Should I have? They were on sale, so I bought 2, and I want the next one to be tender. Any suggestion? Welcome, as long as they don't involve a smoker, because I don't have one. It's most likely undercooked.
Right.
Okay, so brisket is a very tough piece of meat. It's you have to cook it low and slow. You do not need a smoker to cook a brisket. I love smoked brisket. You do not need a smoker.
No.
You need to cook it low. What is low? You want to cook it on a temperature of about 160 degrees to somewhere in that 160 to 190 degrees until you get an internal temperature of 160 degrees, and then you can bump it up. Mm-hmm. Or you can just set it at 200 if you want. That when we put it in a smoker, we're cooking it at that 190, 170, 180 degrees because we want the smoke flavor to infuse without cooking it too fast. But if you're going to cook it in a slow cooker, you're going to need probably 24 hours. Do not cook to time. You cannot cook to time.
I hate that about cooking.
You cannot cook to time. Say it with me.
You cannot cook to time.
You have to cook to temperature.
But what we're eating at this time, well, then you have to
plan ahead.
Brisket
way ahead. Is one of those things that plan ahead. So brisket's best tenderness is going to be when you have an internal temperature of 205 to 210 degrees. If you quick cook it to get to that temperature, it will be tough.
Yeah.
You need to cook it very low and slow. So if you're going to put it in a slow cooker, put it in that slow cooker and just let it keep going. It's probably going to take 24 hours until you get an internal temperature of 205 degrees. If your slow cooker's max temperature is 180, then you bump it up. In an oven, the best way to cook your brisket would be put it in there at about 230 degrees, and it's going to take you about 15 to 18 hours, depending on the size of the brisket.
It's a long time, but it's worth it. 300
degrees. I see Carrie's 300 degrees for 2 hours.
Meat cheeks, though.
It's for a brisket would not work. Okay, so 225 to 250 degrees should be the max temperature, and that's gonna take about 14 hours. You're going for an internal temperature of 205 to 210 degrees.
Low and slow sounds like me, Serena said. That cracked me up.
Next one's from Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
Question: I make my keto chow shakes like Joe and Rachel using 4 tablespoons of butter, always, every single time, very shortly after I drink a shake. Let's just say I have to use the restroom. Is it normal, or does it mean I should use less butter? It could be a lot of things. I don't know how long you've been using keto chow, Tammy. So it could be an insensitivity or a sensitivity, rather. You might want to try adding a little bit of beef gelatin. But normally, if you're running to the bathroom after eating, for most people, it is you just had a lot of fat and a lot of sodium.
Right.
So if you're drinking a lot of salties and then adding that in, you're getting a bunch of electrolytes in there. Maybe cut back a salty a little before. I personally like it when I have to run to the bathroom, but I'm very weird.
Yes, you are.
I am that I'll take diarrhea over the sticky any day.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot for a Monday morning.
It is a lot.
Too early for all that.
You might want to try cutting back the fat a little bit.
Yes.
Or eating it a little bit slower. Cindy
Moving
said,
on.
I cooked brisket overnight in a covered pan in my oven, about 200 degrees. It comes out great. By overnight, I mean at least 10 to 12 hours, and then check to see if it needs to go longer. That is perfect. And length is all about size. So a packer brisket, it's going to take you 24 hours. If you're putting in just the point or just the flat's going to take generally a little bit longer than the point, because the point is fattier. So sometimes it will cook a little bit fat, but it all comes down to how big, how thick is it, and that's why you want to go low and slow. Same thing with a chuck roast. Any kind of really like tough meat, you can get it where it's melt in your mouth.
Right.
But it's all about low and slow. Next one is from Rita.
Hey, Rita.
I'm wondering if anyone else has the same problem I have. I don't seem to have a shut-off button for bacon. I can eat an entire package and not feel satisfied. I want to do triple beanie, but I'm thinking about using clean sausage because of this.
That is not a bad idea. Like, you have to know yourself. I think it's foolish to be like, hey, I have trouble with this and I'm going in because the prescription is we're supposed to do it this way. So I think that if you're like, you know what, I do tend to overeat bacon. I'm like that. I feel like I'm very satisfied at the end of a big bowl of ground beef. But like, if there's bacon, I could eat another pack and then like give me more bacon. Like, I'm just that person. I think that we do have things that like, we like certain tastes. We like certain textures too. Sometimes the texture of something can cause me to eat more.
Right.
I can eat past true satiation because I'm just enjoying the interaction with that particular texture.
I will say on beef butter bacon, you don't have to eat bacon.
No.
You don't have to eat bacon. I love bacon. I'm with Chris. I like sausage more than bacon, especially sausage crumbles. I love sausage crumbles.
We were reminded once again that I am not a huge fan of beef bacon.
I love it.
Sorry, but it's got
to be cooked right.
It's just not the same for me. Hey, was that a dig because I cooked
No,
the last
actually
batch?
It was cooked perfectly. I ate the whole thing until you dropped it on the floor.
I did drop it on the floor.
And on a farm, you don't eat what falls on a farm. Like 5-second rule kind of goes out the door.
No, yeah.
Especially when it's right next to the door that you're walking in.
Right.
Next one's from Bob and Donna.
Hey, Bob.
Today is the first day I have had a glucose below 100 since the end of May, and I never thought I had, and I've never had high ketones of 1.2 until this morning. Watching Dr. Elizabeth Wright saying eat more fat and spread it throughout your day has been a game changer, and Cindy's challenge has got me off the couch.
Good.
Thank you, Cindy DeManchi. I have dropped my steps to between 7,000 and 8,000 until I can get my knee pain under control.
That's fantastic. And thank you to everybody like Cindy who is doing their part, sharing in community. I love it.
Next one is from Visual Keto.
Hello, Visual Keto.
You're not getting rid of your Le Creuset, are you?
No.
That is a legacy for your kids. Signed, loves her Le Creuset Loge and little Aldi cousins. So we are going to get rid of our Le Creuset Teflon coated pans.
Not
our cast iron. No, our cast iron I cannot wait. It's all still packed. I cannot wait to get my cast iron back.
Yeah.
I do miss my cast iron. Now, we never get rid of cast iron. Never. And if grandma is thinking about selling it at a yard sale, go beat her up. Like, now get the never get rid of cast iron. That is a legacy for your children.
And
the older it is, the better it is.
If you see it in a thrift store, pick it up because it really can be brought back to life.
Yeah. Next one is from Janice.
Hey, Janice.
I'm so glad I started the proper human way of eating because of health issues, not to lose weight. Weight was always a struggle, but my health is more of a priority.
Good.
Funny thing is the weight fell off after the food alignment was firmly in place. That is why we say keto is not a weight loss protocol. Keto is a health optimization lifestyle, and the side effect of keto is weight loss.
I'm going to tell you, it is the same as when you're like, I need to go to bed, go to bed. When you tell yourself that, you can look forward to seeing the clock every hour on the hour, no change. Go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. Because you're so fixated on it, you can't do the thing. You just can't do it. And I find that is like the same thing with weight loss. When I am so intense about it, I've got to lose weight, I am literally stressing myself out and everything but losing weight will happen. I cannot just make it, lose some weight today.
I saw Jeannie said to transfer in progress, the phone doesn't allow me to reply to individuals. No, if you're in a live stream on YouTube, on a phone, you can't put at someone's name and have it there. It doesn't work.
Dustin is here. Welcome. So excited for him. He's going to be starting the proper human diet study. He's going to be joining Dr. Barry. So excited for you.
Next one's from Caprice.
Hey, Caprice.
Thank you for covering my diving post. Last question, Patty or SSI? How do I know a good instructor is good or not? This is with regarding to diving.
Yeah.
Somehow we're continuing this.
I love it.
PADI or SSI, if you're going to ask me my personal opinion, I'm going to tell you SSI or SDI, not PADI. In the end, if you want to get into diving, it does come down to the instructor. The reason that I don't like PADI, and my original certification is with PADI, but the reason I don't like PADI is because they're all about money. And I
charge for craziness.
They charge for everything. And then, like, even if you need a new card, it's like $75. It's like stupid. But it's the training that they get, and that a lot of the PADI people give. It's kind of like it's a herd mentality with not everybody, but some. Why I am certified to as an instructor for both. I can teach both SSI and SDI. I prefer SSI, and the reason I prefer SSI is because with SSI, all instructors must be affiliated with a shop. If you are a PADI or an SDI instructor, you can literally become an instructor and go out and start on your own. You don't have to be affiliated with anybody, which means I can say, hey, Caprice, I'll teach you. You give me $1,000, and then I run, and you have no recourse.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going through SSI requires me to be affiliated with the shop.
So there's a door.
If I run away, your stuff is still good because you're through that shop. The other thing is that SSI has more intense. We all basically teach the same thing for the basics, but SSI does more like to make sure you're prepared. For example, SDI and PADI do four dives before you're certified. We do 5. So we give you some extra. When I certify, we do pool, and then we go to a lake for 2 of your open water dives because it's a more controlled situation than me taking you out in the ocean.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit more to make sure you are prepared, but you can have good instructors in all of them. The most important thing is the instructor, not the certification, like who holds your card, because you can cross things. Like I started with PADI, moved over here. You can have this one and then go that and get that one. It doesn't really matter. You can have SDI, open water, and then go get an SSI for nitrox. It doesn't really matter. How do you know a good instructor? And this is with anything. Ask questions, referrals. Ask him how he teaches. When you teach, do you do your skills on the knees? Because that would be stupid. And you see that. I go down in the water and I see instructors having people do their skills on their knees. That's
not how you're going to have to do it in a lifetime.
If your mask comes off and you're swimming through the water, what are you going to do? Drop down to the ground to put your mask back on? No, you're going to have to do it while you're swimming through the water. And what happens if you're in 300 feet of water? You can't drop down to the ground. So you need to be able to do it while you're just kind of going along. And I see too many people teaching it on the knees. So those are requests. Ask them, what is your teaching style? How many lessons? Are we going to the ocean directly? Are we going to the pool? Can I have referrals? Ask people.
Well, and I also think that you need to think about like, what are the size of the groups? Because when you have, group instruction, remember, like, this is your life.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that a person isn't having such a big group that they can't pay attention to my specific needs.
Will say it is more money, but I highly encourage anybody who wants to go diving or learn to dive to spend the extra money on either a semi-private or a private lesson over a group lesson. If the group is more than 4 people, find something else. Spend a little extra money. Save the extra $200 or $300 that you're going to spend to go to a group and do private because it's more personalized. Rachel got certified in a group or started to.
So scary. I was like, I'm out.
And here was an example. This person, when you're on a boat and you got to get out of the water, the boat is rocking. Okay. So this person teaches Rachel by jumping on her back. As she's climbing up the ladder, she literally starts jumping on her back, pulling her off the ladder, dunking her in the water. That is not proper protocol.
Rachel
that is
did not
dangerous.
Like that. Yeah.
That is dangerous. That's how you know a bad instructor.
Today.
So that's how we met my friend Hugh. Well, I went to buy stuff and then I told him her experience. He said, you bring Rachel to me and I will finish certifying her. And he went through her in the lake hand in hand to the point where he said, I'm going to swim through this plane. And she's like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And then she followed him anyway because she trusted him.
I love this. Chris Bear says, today on Joe Goes Off on a Tangent about scuba diving, we have ... And Dustin says, well, it was either that or solar or 3D printing.
Yes, I can talk about any of them. Last one from Laquita.
Hey, Laquita.
Joseph Stauffer, how has your Celsius been making you feel lately? PSA, your Celsius energy may accidentally contain alcohol. Okay, I want to clear something up before we get into the chat.
That was crazy.
Okay, Celsius has not been recalled.
Right.
The recall
Fear not.
is high noon vodka drinks. Celsius, this did not affect Celsius. This was not a Celsius issue. It kind of affected Celsius, but not really. What happened was, I guess Celsius and High Noon Seltzer used the same company to make their cans, and the company sent High Noon Seltzer some Celsius Arctic Blue cans, or they're labeled it, and it was part of their mixed pack. There's supposed to be like this many flavor of this flavor.
Indeed.
And so inside of those High Noon packs,
you got some Celsius.
Were cans labeled Celsius, but it was High Noon Seltzer.
Wow.
Which is a vodka seltzer.
But that is not something that...
But they're not something that if you went and bought Celsius,
you would have that
you
happen.
would be picking up a vodka drink. How do you know? If you are curious, it's only one flavor of Celsius, and you will know it is the Arctic Blue, the thinner cans, and the ones that had High Noon in them will have a silver top. Celsius has black tops.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it wasn't a Celsius recall. It was a High Noon.
Don't tell
social
me
media
that there wasn't at least one family who bought one of those multi-packs, but then you take it out of the pack and you just put it into the refrigerator, and somebody in a family somewhere
and that's why it was recalled.
Grabbed it to like go to work instead of
that's why
enjoy
it would be
weekend.
Recalled if you drank both. I think more than likely you're going to have people who were not happy because they bought a 12-pack of High Noon vodka seltzer and open up a can and like, great, I got Celsius. Right?
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't Celsius. It was just in a Celsius can.
Yeah.
Okay. John said how to find a good driving store and make sure his name is Joe S. Well, thank you.
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah, John said High Noon got Celsius labels. Let's jump into the chat.
See what you guys are up to.
Real quick, though, we do want to take a reminder to just make sure you head on over to Keto Brick. Use their Brick by Brick sale.
We love you, Keto Brick.
They are the sponsor for today's video. Okay, so let's see. So, Transformative Progress, I'm new to participating in live chats. I don't know how to reply to individuals. So, yeah, like we said, if you want to reply to, you can just type their name. They'll see it. People in our chat will see it. But if you're on a browser, like, then you would type @ and then that.
What is a particular challenge that you find yourself in right now? That's I'm interested to see. What is a challenge that you are having right now?
So for the bacon, Nicole said, me too, Rachel. When I first went low carb in my 20s, I ate a whole pack of bacon.
Sure.
I was so happy to be able to eat fatty meat.
Yes.
I did not do that again, thankfully.
Well, it's just, I'll never forget when I went Atkins in like the 90s, and I did lose weight, but you were trying to make like a clear, a swap for swap substitution. I will never forget that I made a shake substituting milk for like heavy cream, the same amount. So imagine drinking 12 ounces of heavy cream mixed with like a keto chow and drinking it. And me and my roommate at the time, she was trying, Atkins too. We were doing it together. And I'll never forget that, like, we were instantly, because, a shake goes down really quickly, and I got it down, but then we could not move. Like, we were on the kitchen floor because it was like, oh, I guess it's not a swap for swap, milk for heavy cream.
No. Evelyn, I like that we get to know you better. Keto is a plan to help you be yourself. It doesn't mean all your other interests go away. Keto has allowed us to be involved in all the things that we
Evelyn.
love.
And thank you for being here. Evelyn's only got is this the last week or second to last week? Because she's a teacher. She's going to be having to go back to school, and I just want to wish Evelyn and all of our teachers good luck next year. We're going to be rooting for you, and you've got a really tough job, but thank you for doing it.
Okay, Amanda, my challenge, body dysmorphia. I've lost 50 pounds. My clothes size is down. Other people see it, but I can't see it in the mirror at all. It's weird and a bit demoralizing.
So I think that you've got to do the deep dive to learn, how am I going to like me? And I think it begins with noting the things that are not subjective. You know, sometimes it's really hard to go from that place of like, I hate myself to I love myself. That is too big of a jump. That's too big of a jump. I think that we have to begin with like what Amy Berger would talk about is like more neutral statements about ourselves.
Mhm.
Like, because you're like, well, I don't like my whatever. Like, you don't see the changes in some part of your body. I mean, first of all, if you're just taking it an overall view and that's too much, begin to notice where you do see changes. Like, okay, well, maybe overall I don't see that I've lost 50 pounds, but I do see some changes in the, what looks like the shape of my face. The shape of my face is different. I don't need to like throw a party for it, but I need to start beholding, that word beholding means to be aware of. So when we are aware of changes happening, I think that that's how we can slowly but surely bring ourselves into a better, thoughts about ourselves. But I think it does begin with not getting emotional about it, just noting the change.
Yeah.
If you need to start measuring yourself and you say like, hey, I go to the pants and I say, hey, the size of my pants was a size 42 inch. And now the size of my pants is a size whatever. Change has happened.
I think pictures are better than mirrors.
I do too.
Because you can, especially if you...
Measurements are better than anything.
But pictures are visual.
Sure.
So if you have some before pictures and always put them
side
together,
by side.
Just use Pic Collage and always put up before and afters. Look at before and afters.
Because
I have the same problem. I look in the mirror, I see Fat Joe. But when I look at a picture, I'm like, oh.
Well, you need to provide yourself, like you're saying, with visuals, whether it's data that you've accumulated or it's a photo that you have taken. You need to have something that even your worst critic could not deny. They could not like give that to you, because here's the thing, we're our worst critic.
Right.
So I need something that's not debatable with my negative thoughts.
Yeah. Cindy said, after 50 years together and 46 years of marriage, finding new ways to have fun together and surprise each other is important and fun.
That is very true. And it is a bit of research. Joe and I finally realized that most of our dating activity was just always centered around food. And so I can remember we bought a disc golf set, right? Because that we didn't know what to do. And we didn't want to spend like tons of money, and a lot of the local parks have like a disc golf course.
I'm actually going to build one here on the farm.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. And it's fun, and all you need is a Frisbee. You don't even have to get fancy pants ones when you're getting started. But we were like, we need a date that has nothing to do with food. Maybe it is going to a local community park or, a swimming pool in your backyard or something that you're like, okay, we're having a date and it's not going to be about food.
Right.
But it's challenging. Go for a drive together.
Okay, transformative progress. In my honest opinion, if I weigh daily on my star scale, I can easily track my weight is trending, and I don't have to worry about weight creeping up. Knowledge is power. And for some people, that works.
Yeah.
It really comes down to personality and knowing yourself.
It does.
I'm not saying the scale is horrible for everybody, but for a lot of people, it's a struggle. I mean, and again, I don't want to lump everybody, but I'm going to tell you, 8 out of 10 people that I meet in this lifestyle through coaching, through conferences, and
at some point
live and die by that scale.
At some point, it's
live and die by the scale. That, I mean, I was talking to Dr. Nelson's wife, and she was like, it was actually Dr. Nelson I was talking to, and he said he went on a 72-hour fast, or he just finished, I think it was a 21-day fast.
Yeah, it was a long fast.
And halfway in, he was up 8 pounds. Like, how do you go up 8 pounds on a fast? Right. I mean, we know it's water and inflammation, but if you are living and dying by that scale, what do you do? And I remember years ago, I did a 72-hour fast, and 36 hours in, I was up 7 pounds, and I was freaking out. And I remember calling Kim Howerton and going, what is going on? And it turned out it's when I had discovered that you can take the Redmond Real Salt Seasoned Salt, it's the yellow seasoned salt, and
like
you can put a teaspoon of that in water and it tastes like chicken broth.
It's delicious.
I was drinking like 12 of those a day. But that was the only fluid I was drinking.
Too much.
So it was too much sodium, not enough water to flush out the excess sodium. And I gained 8 pounds of water weight in 36 hours. But I was living and dying by the scale. And so if you recognize I am living and dying by the scale, that's where we're going to tell you to put away the scale. Some people can look at that scale and understand, listen, I know I'm going to go up and down 5 pounds, a day, but that's okay.
I look at the scale. The best analogy that I can make for the scale is a swimming pool. And a swimming pool is a place where some people will gold medal in the Olympics. Other people will drown. If you are somebody who gold medals, I think you know that's special and different. And we applaud you. I don't want to take that win. I would never take a gold medal win from somebody. You're an Olympic champion. You get to be an Olympic champion, right? Like that is freaking awesome. And we celebrate. Like I watch the Olympics knowing that I can't participate in it. Right. Like I still enjoy it, whole communities like vie for like, let's have them here so that we can all watch it. It's a special, special thing. And I think it's a special gift for somebody that for the totality of their life, they could always use the scale and it is not something that, that hurts them. I've had people recommend to me, if you have a hard time with the scale, then you need to use it 10 times a day. You need to almost have it like one of those kind of fear therapy where it's like you are immersed in it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I do not need that thing. So if you're somebody that uses the scale and you're like, hey, I'm great with it, God bless.
Right.
But I have, I have a problem.
Right.
And it wasn't always that way. I used it as a tool for as long as it benefited me. But hey, we're renovating the house, and there's certain tools that are really amazing and you're using them, for a specific job, but there will come a day where like crimping wire will not be a daily thing for you.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that it's bad and that you're not thankful that you had the crimping wire when you did.
Yeah. It's just like when you have people who start to be like, today I'm, 138.4. And
as soon as you say 0.4,
today, that's where I was going with it. And then the next day they're like, I gained weight because today I'm 138, 0.6. And you like, so you went up 0.3 pounds? No, you didn't. Like, and that's where we have to be
hear
careful.
the decimal point.
I know you have a problem.
As soon as I hear the decimal point,
right.
I'm like, what, really?
You have a problem.
We're not in a ballpark anymore.
Okay. Nicole said, the last pounds I need to lose are all in my tummy, so this subject is so relevant. Thank you. With PCOS in my past, I'm sure butter and heavy cream are things that I need to let go. I would not say necessarily butter. I am one of the people that says I don't really consider butter dairy, especially ghee. If you go to ghee or clarified butter, because at that point you've removed all the milk proteins. I would start with the heavy cream if you want to see if there's some different, again, minimum 30 to 60 days. The best, healthiest fats that you can consume in addition to your meat would be butter and tallow. I would use those over plant-based ones like avocado or coconut oil and things like that.
If you have never made our ghee recipe, like go make that thing. And then invite me over and please let me eat the milk little crunchies off the top, because that is my favorite thing.
That's your favorite.
That is my favorite thing.
Yvonne said I could only have heavy cream when I fast as ice cream with egg yolks and allulose.
Yum.
Let's see. Go down to the end here. Andy said your coffee obsession makes you who you are, complete with Sunday morning intros.
Yes, so true.
Dustin said, I drink it black before giving it up. I love heavy cream and butter in my coffee, though.
Evelyn has a
I
scale that
probably need to calm
announces
it
your
down.
weight out loud and the whole house can hear it. Oh my gosh. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Then I'm definitely weighing so low.
Nicole, my challenge, I need to be more consistent with movement. Any tips? Working mom, wife, I need 20 to 30 minutes max workouts due to packed schedule in the middle stage of life. Aging parents with a kid. I'm going to tell you
10 minutes.
I'm going to tell you, just involve it in your everyday movements.
Yep.
And this is something Dr. Kiltz talks about. You know, you don't have to go to the gym for an hour. Have everyday movements. Just while you're sitting, when you're sitting down on the couch, get some dumbbells.
Get down on the ground, get back up. Do that 15 times.
Squat every time you go to the bathroom.
Dance between like you've got to like you as soon as you hear the washer do the ding thing, before you go turn the stuff in the washer over to the dryer, like pick up a song on YouTube and dance to it. Like, you just want to make it fun. That was something that we talked about. We'll share that video of what we spoke on at the Keto Orlando Summit, or the Champions for Health Summit, where it's like, in order to get movement in, you know, it wasn't hard for us to do that when we were kids because there was joy attached to it. It was fun. It wasn't like a job that we were trying to like add to a long list of chores. So definitely habit stacking is going to be I think the way that a busy mom can get that in. So you're like, okay, it's garbage day. I have to take the garbage out. Right. And I always have to do that.
Well, so moving.
Yeah.
And we're almost done here. But when we lived in Fort Lauderdale, garbage was Caleb's job.
Yes. And now it's
my
job.
He wasn't very good at it either. Because, I mean, it literally was. I mean, but
that's not what I mean.
None of our kids were good at it, literally. But the garbage can is here, and we could not get them to take it from the end of the driveway to the driveway, which was 30 feet.
Right.
Right? Here,
it's long.
The garbage is at the end of the driveway on a 6.5 acre property. It is a 500-foot walk from the house to to there. And oh, by the way, even though we're only 2 people, somehow we
generate a lot of garbage.
We generate 3 cans worth of garbage twice a week. I don't know how we do that as 2 people.
I blame Amazon.
We have more garbage now than when we lived in Fort Lauderdale. And oh, by the way, we can burn all the boxes. So that's not even with all the boxes, right?
No.
But you made the decision coming here that even though that would be my job to do the garbage, right? You know, not to sound sexist, but that's the man takes out the garbage. The man mows the lawn, right?
Right. I do both of those things. You
came up and said, I need to make sure I'm getting movement in. And so you took it upon yourself that you do the garbage.
Yeah.
Because you enjoy the walking it out because it gives you that movement.
It just makes it happen.
Twice a week, you have the movement of, I've got to get up at the butt crack of dawn and walk all of the garbage cans, and it's usually 2 or 3 trips.
It's always also how, like, I can make sure that
you mow the lawn.
Sunlight in first thing in the morning.
Right.
Because I know that that's important. I know that that changes things. You getting the earlier that you can get sunlight in your day, that is telling your body the new digestive day has begun.
Right. But that's just, it's functional movement that you have just, like, it's got to be done anyway. So, you know what? I'm just going to incorporate that movement.
Andy was sharing something. Milady laughs a lot on her channel as she was trying to do, you know, getting in more movement. One of the things that she said, which I really liked, was the fact that if you get your movement in, whatever that is, first thing in the day. So you've got a busy home life. You know, if you wake up before the kids and just walk around the block and you're like, I'm trying to get this many steps in early in the day, then the rest of the day, all of those steps that's added to you becomes like just passive movement.
Right.
Because you are going to get in walking and steps in because you're doing like the chores in the house and stuff. But if you're saying like, hey, I'm going to wait until the end of the day to try to get some movement in, sometimes the day can get away from you.
Right.
You know?
Last one, transformative progress. The more weight I've lost, the more obsessed I've become with my keto low carb cooking.
cooking is my obsession. So is it like, I do like cooking, you know, I like having control of ingredients. I was talking to Maria Emmerich about that, about like how when she travels so much, there's a lot of things that you can't control the variables, and trying to make peace with that, and like how you kind of pivot when you're traveling to like incorporate that. But I also have become very bougie about how things taste when we're out, because like I don't think that there's anybody that can cook barbecue as good as you can, because you've just
I
been
would
trying.
disagree, but thank you.
But I mean, like, you really have it down. So especially when you're having to pay a premium price because you're out and about, it's really hard to be like, dude, we would be paying way less money and getting better barbecue if we were at home.
Right. Okay. We will make this the last one because it's a good point to end on. I think the narrative needs to change. I want to lose mass. I don't want to lose weight.
Ooh, I like that. Evelyn.
Okay, we are going to get off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we will be back on live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be working on the house all week long. We've got a couple of videos coming out as well, including our low-carb cruise presentation will be coming out this week. Now, also, don't forget, if you are a member of the paid part of Mighty Network, so Meatheads or Higher, where you're donating $5, $10, or $25 a month to help sustain the channel, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, Rachel will be on with a new talk. It's like a mini coaching session. So if you remember, everybody should be a part of Mighty Networks, members.twocrazyketos.com.
That's free.
That's free. But if you want to support us and you want to basically get some free coaching and some other stuff, go join the $5, $10, or $25 group. Guys, everybody have a great day, and we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.
We love you.